WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany, tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Today I have a German whiskey. This is from the Westfalian, which was founded 2012, which I think is a tiny little bit not great on the label, because if you look at the label here, the 2012 is much bigger than the 2016, which is over here. So it kind of has a feeling that this is 2012 bottling, which is not. And so, hey, people by the Westphalia, the company's name is Unique Limits GmbH, which is a limited in Paderborn here in Germany. I would get rid of the 2012 in your logo, personally. Hey, confusion by the way. All right, now this is a 2016 product, distilled, and it was actually bottled 2021. This is cask number 120. Now, if you can still measure your bottlings in cask numbers, and you're only in double and triple digits, you know that it's a fairly small output. This was actually filled up in an Ex-Glendronach sherry hogshead. Yay! This is 0.5 liters and 51.9% alcohol by volume, ABV, and I paid 80 euros for this. That means 1 liter of the alcohol is 160 euros. I can basically get a Glendronach 18 for that price. Do I want a not even 5-year-old whiskey, a 4-year-old single malt whiskey from Germany, or do I want an 18-year-old Glendronach? We will see. This is one of 534 bottles, whiskey base number 177793. So I'm going to compare it to something. Hey, looky here, I have Glendronach, the 10-year-old. This is the 1 liter travel retail bottle. Boom, boom, boom. So this goes for about 45 euros over here. And so I can basically get 4 of these for the price of 1 of the half liters. So I get 4 liters basically of the 10-year-old Glendronach for 1 of the half liter of the 4-year-old single malt from Germany. Am I making fun of the price? A tiny little bit. I just think it's a little bit crazy, the prices that are being actually asked for, not just in German whiskey, but all over for whiskey at the moment. Just unbelievable. All right, now the Westphalia belongs basically to the same company that does Malts of Scotland, MOS. They do great bottlings. A German company in Paderborn, and so they actually went out in 2012 and looked for a different company to make the whiskey for them. And they found the so-called fine brennerei, this fine distillery called Nothof. Why Nothof? Because William Nothof actually runs and owns the business. He did his first experiments making whiskey in the 1960s. Stopped because no one wanted it, no one knew what it was over here in Germany. And so he actually continued and made his other spirits, which were very common in the region. Now, if somebody was making spirits in the 1960s, they are not the youngest person in the world. I don't know about you, but 50 years ago was 1971. So the guy that was making it was probably at least 20 years old, and so he's over the 70-year mark. Nothing against that. But also the question is who's going to take over if the guy who makes your whiskey is over retirement age? So William Nothof made this whiskey back in 2016, and they used, as I said, the Ex-Glendronach sherry hogshead. Now the question always is where did that barrel come from? Many times Malts of Scotland have taken whiskey out of Scotland and actually then bottled it in Germany. So it's no longer Scotch, it is a single malt. It is a single malt whiskey from Scotland. It's a single malt. It's just called a single malt whiskey, not to confuse anyone. And what do you do with the casks? Well, you give them to your sister company, they fill up the German whiskey in it, and ta-da, you have a nice little USP, a unique selling proposition. Good, let's nose this. On the nose, I get the typical, I get a green pine moment. I often get a green, more of a birch moment, but this is a pine moment. It's green, it's young. On the background behind there, towards the back, someplace is a nice little raisin that's been maybe in maybe a rum. And what we do over here in Germany is when we go to North Frisia and we take a black tea, they put these little rock sugar into it. And some people have actually taken rock sugar and put it in rum, and then you have rummed rock sugar. Mwah! I mean, talk about good stuff. And you put that in your tea or in your coffee, and you have a wonderful, wonderful moment. That's what it basically has in the background. It has a lot of interesting things, but in the foreground, you do have a little bit of a greenness there that I was not looking forward to. I bought this bottle not because I wanted it, but rather because I have a support group around me. I have 100 and plus different Patreons that support me, and they get to suggest bottles, and actually 3 different people suggested this bottle. So I bought it, and I shared it, and it was gone very, very quickly. Over here, the 10-year-old, the Forge. It's you can almost notice the sherry here more. Makes sense. This was a sherry cask, and this was the sherry cask that was used after they emptied it. I don't know if that was a sherry cask from a 10-year-old. I don't know if it was a Glendronach 15, 18, 12, 21. I don't know if it was a single cask. I don't know. I just know that it's an ex-Glendronach sherry hogshead, and we have it here. I did not want to compare it to a Glendronach single cask. First of all, I don't have one open. I do have 2 over here waiting to be open one day. But second of all, I just did not consider that a fair comparison. All right, let's try this. It is 51.9%. This is one of 534 bottles in Germany only. I do not think that they sell outside of Europe. And if you ever do find something, it is basically then maybe an auction, or you have someone who came over and bought it. Now, the box is in German. It just shows then the focus group here, all right? It actually says everything's in German here. And so that's the way things is. Yeah, no big batches, no chill filtration, no color or any type of artificial flavoring added. That's the only thing that's important here is the whiskey itself. Boom. All right, so color, nice. Nose gets better with more time in the glass. Cheers. Mm. It's much oilier, more oily than I thought it was going to be. A great mouth texture, coating, a high viscosity, good sherry goodness, an excellent sherry goodness towards the end. This is much better than I thought it was going to be. There's a tiny little bit of green still down below, but the sherry goodness and a tiny little bit of barrel char is there as well. Interesting, interesting. I've never had anything from the Westfalian. This is absolutely new for me. I also have a second one, which is a rye, a German rye, which I'm going to try as well. If it's good enough, I'll do an English video. If it's not good enough, then you know. If you never see a video here, you know it wasn't good enough. That's one of my rules. I don't want to bash on German whiskey the whole time. And so I only do videos in English that are at least acceptable, if not actually good. And this is actually acceptable. This is a C plus whiskey. I've actually tried it a few times now, and it was almost, it was like, okay, is it a B minus? No. It just doesn't do that. It's not that much. There's a tiny little bit of a smoky barrel charness towards the end, which I don't prefer. That greenness is a tiny little bit in the background, and yet the raisin sugar hard candy moment. Hard sugar candy moment is excellent. It's a very, very sweet whiskey. I do like it much, much better than I thought it was going to be. Let's talk about price. Is this worth a half liter, 80 euros? Is this worth, this bottle size would be 160 euros? Never, ever, ever. This is if it was a 0.7, a normal bottle, and it's German. If it would have been maybe around 60 euros, I would have went, that's a lot of money, but hey, it's delicious. Why not? Which means you have to take it down to about 45 euros for the zero point 0.5. So this is basically the double the price, more or less, that I'd be willing to pay for it. It's good, but it's not worth the money. So I'm going to give it actually a D minus for the value for money. Yes, it's drinkable. Yes, it's enjoyable. Yes, it's sweeter than expected and it's better than expected. But I am not going to pay 80 euros for a half-liter bottle for something like this. So sorry. Mm. Mm. Nice. By the way, uh, towards the end, it's just like yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. By the way, with water, not much better. 51.9% cast strength. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Does it say cast strength on here? It says here product of Germany. It says here cast number da da da. I have bottle number 250. Nope, doesn't say the word cast strength anywhere here. Interesting. So, yeah, kind of no batches, no big batches, no chill filtration, no. Okay. It doesn't say anything about adding water or not, so I don't know. So going over to the forge here, the 10-year-old Glendronach. I like the nose better. In comparison, it's watery. It is only 43%. This was 51.9. There's a little bit more of a sharpness of the alcohol there than here, even though it's double the age. And there's also more of a nice sherry moment. Here we have a sweetness, candied sugar sweetness. Here we have more of a sherry fruitiness. Okay. Thank you very much for watching. My question of the day is, what other whiskeys have you seen that actually name the cask that were used beforehand? All right. So I'm trying to make an example. For example, some companies say, here's my whiskey that was in a Lefroy quarter cask beforehand. Here we have a whiskey that was an Ex-Glendronach cask beforehand. Sometimes I see over here matured in Tennessee whiskey casks or Jack Daniel's casks. So what whiskeys have you seen that name the casks that were used before? J.P. Weiser triple cask, for example, they say Canadian whiskey cask, which means it was J.P. Weiser's before in there. They had ex-bourbon, they had Canadian whiskey, and they had, for example, new American oak. And that was a very interesting complex there. It's not exactly what I meant, but hey, we have Canadian whiskey, we have a Glendronach, we have an Islay, we have so on so. All right, thank you very much. WhiskyJason here. Please like, subscribe, tell others, and all the best for the future. Come back, watch me. I'm here a couple times a week. Bye-bye.